viral foundations are entering the ring for this week's Friday Face-Off. Only one can be crowned best foundation for more mature skin. I am 55. We're gonna do an 8-hour wear test to see which one holds up and which one settles into fine lines and wrinkles. Will Natasha Denona's new High Glam foundation deliver that luxe red carpet glow? Or will Haus by Lady Gaga's Triclone foundation remain on top? After wearing both of these foundations for 8 hours, I definitely have some thoughts. Let's get into it. If we haven't met before, hi, I'm Jody. I'm 55. Think of me as your midlife beauty bestie, and think of this time together as just girlfriends talking about makeup. Today's Friday Face-Off, and yes, it does come out on Thursday. Short story there is I used to post videos on Friday, and Friday Face-Off made sense. When I moved the video posting day to Thursday, Thursday Face-Off just didn't have the same ring to it. So this series has remained Friday Face-Off. Who knows, I might put it back on Fridays. I do these every other Thursday, so be sure to subscribe so that you don't miss any of these videos. And if you like Friday Face-Off, regardless of what day you watch it, make sure you hit the like button so I know these are series that you like to see. In today's Friday Face-Off, we are reviewing the new High Glam foundation by Natasha Denona up against the Haus by Lady Gaga Triclone foundation. This one tested very well a few years ago when I reviewed it. It works really well for women with more dry skin. Now, typically, I like to review a more high-end foundation with a more cost-effective foundation because this one's $52 and this one's $48, pretty pricey. My all-time favorite foundation, you guys, is the Complexion Crush by Ulta. This is a medium to full coverage. This I've reviewed so many times that I thought if I put it up against this one, you guys would already know how I feel about it. This is phenomenal. Maybe this one is better. I don't know. This is 16 bucks. I have an extra because I never want to be without it. So we shall see. Originally, you guys, I was planning on doing the Friday Face-Off with the High Glam up against the newly formulated Airbrush Flawless Foundation by Charlotte Tilbury. This is what the new bottle looks like. It has little angel wings behind her logo at the bottom. Here is the old bottle. I really love this one. It is a little thicker, it's full coverage. I like this one because if you have any photographs that need to be taken or any videos, this is a very good foundation. It doesn't wear that well at about the 3 to 4 hour mark up close. It does start to look heavy, but for a couple hours of a high glam situation, this is a very good foundation, even on more mature skin. This is the one that I wear when I am on TV because it just gives a really beautiful complexion. The new one, however, I had this on for a couple hours and you guys, I couldn't wait to wash it off. Have you ever had a foundation where you just feel like it's so thick and heavy and it's almost like there's humidity stuck between your foundation and your face? Do you know what I mean? It just feels like you just couldn't move your face around. I just did not like it. I couldn't wait to get it off. So originally that was going to be in this week's Friday Face-Off, but I already knew how it was going to wear and I didn't want to go 8 hours with it on my face. So sorry, Charlotte Tilbury, I'm just not a fan of this new formula, which I say that more often than I would like. I'm not a fan of the new formula. It's been on repeat with many new foundation formulas. But let's talk about why we're here. This High Glam up against the Triclone. Now, I have combination skin, so I am oily in the T-zone and then I'm dry everywhere else. So if your skin is similar to that, we'll be able to see how these foundations wear in more oily parts of your face and more dry parts. Also, I have on some moisturizer and some sunscreen. I do not have on a primer. I will not be setting these with any powders because I really like to see how a foundation wears without the primer at the beginning and any setting powder at the end to improve its performance, because some people may or may not like to add those other products. I want to know how these products wear on their own, because if they wear good on their own, then a primer and or a setting powder might actually make them work better, and that's great, then we know. All right, so let's get into these. The one thing I am going to do, you guys, is I'm going to put a little bit of moisturizer underneath my eyes. I've been using this Bioma. I really like it. What is it even called? Hydrating Milky Toner. I saw this on a video not too long ago and I'm like, gosh, I wonder if that would work well for me. So I love this. I just add a little tiny bit, put it on my fingers, and then I put it underneath my eyes to hydrate this area while I am putting on my foundation. It's very thin, but super hydrating, which is why I like it. It doesn't interfere with my concealer. It doesn't make my mascara transfer down here because it's not really emollient. Super hydrating. So I'll link this down below, but I've loved this as a thin layer of hydration on my under eye areas. So let's talk about the High Glam foundation. It is a cruelty-free product, so is the Haus Labs. Medium coverage, long wear, hydrating, radiant finish, natural finish. So these are pretty close. So then the question becomes, does one wear better? Let's find out. Like I said, I have it in 4N. The packaging is gorgeous, you guys. This would look very nice on your counter. It is flat on the front, and then the back side is a little bit of a curve to it. It's classic Natasha Denona packaging, frosted glass. I really love it. Everything about it's nice. It's a pump, so we love that. It's not too runny. I guess it is a little runny. Let's just see how the formula is compared to the Haus Labs. Yeah, they're about the same formula consistency, both pretty thin. The Natasha Denona one looks a little bit lighter. Let's just put it on my brush. I'm using the BK Beauty 115 brush. Her new 114, 115, and 116 are just great brushes. Now I like to apply my foundation on the outer layers of my face first and then bring it into the center. I do that now because my skin is more mature and I have more wrinkles around this area and around my under eye area because I'm getting older, and that's just what happens. But I prefer to put my foundation where I have less wrinkles and less movement because that's where the majority of the product is going to go, and then move it into those high movement, more wrinkled areas so that less product gets there. Even though this says it's medium coverage, look at the difference between this side where I put the product and this side. It's medium to full, I would say, leaning more towards the full side. Full coverage, not full, not F-O-O-L. Very nice coverage, very blendable. It's not settling into fine lines and wrinkles. So I am loving it so far. I will say, you guys, that, gosh, right, I'm gonna zoom the camera in. My pores right here just look much more displayed than this side where I don't have any product. So I don't love that. I'm gonna try to blot some of that product away, just maybe because there's too much there, but you saw I didn't really put a lot there. The coverage is very nice. The finish is it says radiant. I would say feels a little more glowy than radiant. It's really a beautiful finish. I just feel like my pores in this line right here is a little more accentuated, but we're gonna go with it. Okay, so there you go. That's that side. Now I'm going to pick up this Haus Labs by Lady Gaga before it drips all over my desk. And same thing, I love this one. This one tests very well. I'm not a fan of the Haus Labs by Lady Gaga foundation on more oily skin because it is so hydrating. It really does leave oily skin looking pretty oil slickish, very shiny towards the end of the day. So I don't recommend it for more oily skin. If you've got more dry skin, it is a very nice foundation. And I don't know why my dog, if you guys can see her, she's right behind me. Dakota, hi precious. I don't know why she's in here while I film. Normally she doesn't like to be in here when I film, so if you hear weird sounds in the background, it's just my precious dog. I should say it's our precious dog. My husband and I rescued her almost 2 years ago now, and she's just been such a fun addition to the family. All right, so if you look at those side by side, I do like the way the Haus Labs lays on my skin a little better. All right, let's add some concealer. It's gonna kill me to go all day without any blush. I'm just gonna go in with some of my concealer. This is the NARS concealer. Again, I'll link all these down below. I've been really liking this one. I was wearing the Double Wear by Estee Lauder for a while because it is a more full coverage concealer, which I like, but I found that it was almost too thick or something, even though this is a lot thicker formula. I just found that it started to wear off a little bit, like halfway through my day. So this one stays put and I don't need to set it with powder. And I have it in shade 2.75 light. It's a little difficult to apply with nails. Probably be easier if you had a small brush, but it works. Now the concealer is on. Typically I would go in with a little bit of contour up in my forehead area. For that I would use the Lifter Sticks by Maybelline. I have it in shade 35. I love this. I'm not going to use it because I want to see how both of these foundations, mostly the Natasha Denona one because I know how the Haus Labs is going to perform, but I want to be able to show you how this foundation wears without putting a cream or powder or anything on top of it. So today will be no blush, no powders, no nothing. I am going to put on some lip because lip has nothing to do with my foundation. And I have been loving the Spice by Jane Iredale lip liner. Oh, let me share with you guys what I have been doing though. Before I put on my lip liner, I've been taking this Lifter Sticks and going right here and a little bit on the top. And that little bit of contour on my lip has made my lips not look bigger necessarily, but shorten the distance between the bottom of my nose to the top of my lip. As we age, this continues to droop and get longer. And if you look, when we were younger, there was less space between the bottom of your nose and the top of your lip. And just look at girls that are younger and you'll notice that this spacing is shorter. So I just take a little contour and make it look as though there's a shadow there, but it also shortens the distance. And then this lip liner. All right, so I just shared with you guys one of my favorite new beauty hacks. So let me know one of your favorite new beauty hacks in the comment section. And it's probably one that you don't even think about, you just automatically do. But if we were sitting in a room together, what beauty hack would you go, oh my gosh, you gotta try this, I love it. Let me know, let all of us know, because I love how you guys read each other's comments and comment on each other's comments. That's one of the funnest things for me to watch. You notice I didn't put the lip liner in the outer corners. I stopped doing that. I just don't do that anymore. I don't like the way my mouth looks when I do that. And I'm gonna go in with the Makeup by Mario. This is called South Shore. Love this, love this. It is a semi-matte. In fact, do they call it semi-matte? I think they call it super satin. And I wouldn't call it super satin. I'd call it semi-matte. So if you like the look of that matte lipstick on people, but you think, gosh, I'm more mature, my lips have a little bit more talking lines in them, then a matte may not look as good. This is a nice in-between satin and matte, even though he calls it super satin. It's not what I would call it, but it's not my brand. All right, so there we go. My face looks a little bit one-dimensional today, but I'm gonna just fight the urge to put on anything else because this is what we're here to see. We need to see how these foundations hold up. All right, so this is what both of them look like. Do I feel either one of them? No, I don't think so. No, I don't feel either one. And I should say this Natasha Denona one does not have a scent to it, and Haus Labs doesn't have a scent to it either. This is a pump. I don't know if I mentioned that. So all things considered, you guys, these are pretty similar. I mean, right down to the ingredient list, the packaging, what finished you get, what coverage you get, both cruelty-free, very similar. So we'll see how they wear. I love the coverage of the Natasha Denona one. I think it's a little bit more full coverage, even though it says medium. I love the look of it. I just really feel like this part of my pores, the texture there is really highlighted. So, and I don't get that with my $16 Complexion Crush by Ulta. So, all right, we'll see. I need to take this down my neck. All right, you guys, I'll be back in 8 hours and we'll see what we've got. All right, you guys, so here we are at the 8-hour mark, and boy, do I have some thoughts of these two foundations. Going into this, I thought for sure Haus Labs was gonna be my hands down winner. But let's zoom in and take a look what happened as the day went on. As we progressed hour by hour, I started to see some settling in the Marionette line on the Haus Labs side. I also started to see a little bit of product breaking up where I have more oil, which is my forehead. I know Haus Labs traditionally has not been a great foundation for those of you that have oily skin because it is so hydrating that extra hydration on top of oily skin just can give you that slippage. And I definitely started to see that in the forehead where I am more oily. I also think that while it still looks really pretty, it has worn a little bit in some areas more than others, leaving me with a somewhat of a patchy look. I also feel like it's still a little more shiny than I would like, especially right through here. I just don't like that shiny of a makeup look. So now let's go to the Natasha Denona High Glam side. I thought this was gonna be a hands down no good foundation for me, but you guys, I've really learned to love it as the day went on. The marketing says that it has blurring technology, and I didn't see that when I first applied it, but as the day wore on, I definitely feel as though, especially compared to the other side, I feel like this side looks more blurred than this side. Now, a semi-matte finish will give you more of a blurring effect than a shiny or satin, but this is called radiant finish. But I think when you look at the two, it is a more dull finish, not quite matte, but a little more dull, with some blurring than the Haus Labs by Lady Gaga. This one wore more evenly. It didn't break up in my oily areas. It doesn't look dry or patchy in the dry areas. And I feel like I still have that consistent coverage that I started my day with. So while I really thought I was going to like the Haus Labs better, the Haus Labs has officially been dethroned. I know. With one exception. If you have really dry skin, this might still be your best bet because it is very hydrating. The one thing I noticed about this side is, and I had forgotten about this, if you like this foundation, you might want to set it with just a little tiny dusting of powder after you've applied it, because it took about an hour for it to dry down and my hair kept getting stuck in it when I was outside and it was a little windy and I kept going, I don't like that feeling. So just a little bit of powder would have gotten rid of that. I just didn't set it with powder because I didn't want to skew our results. I wanted to really know, and powder would have certainly helped make this a longer lasting foundation. So this was a surprise winner for me, you guys. I really like the way this foundation looks on my skin 8 hours later. This week's Friday Face Off winner is the Natasha Denona High Glam, and I didn't see that one coming. It is a beautiful foundation. I think you would be really happy with it. Well, that does it for me today, you guys. I hope you enjoy these Friday face-offs. Let me know in the comments if you've got two products that you would like to see go head-to-head in a Friday face-off. And again, I do these every other week. Still want more Friday face-offs? Here's the entire Friday face-off playlist where you can see all of my favorite matchups thus far. Thanks for watching, you guys. Have a great rest of your day. Bye-bye.